Masaccio is remembered as one of the most revolutionary painters of the early Renaissance. But behind the breakthroughs in perspective, light, and human realism lies a life that was brief, tightly guarded, and ended under circumstances that remain unexplained. This is the story of Masaccio. Masaccio was born Tommaso di Ser Giovanni di Monegasai in Castel San Giovanni di Altura, now known as San Giovanni Valdarno, in what today is the province of Arezzo, Tuscany. Arezzo is a city, it's mostly residential, not as touristic as Milan or Rome. Therefore, it is a cheaper place to visit and live in. I'd really encourage you to move to Italy if you are interested, and I myself would love that. So he was the son of Giovanni di Simon Casai, a notary, and Jacopa di Martinoso, the daughter of an inner keeper from Barberino di Mugello, a town north of Florence. The family name Casai came from the profession of Masaccio's paternal grandfather, Simone, and granduncle Lorenzo, who worked as carpenters and cabinet makers. The term casem, meaning chest or boxes, gave rise to the name Kasai. Masaccio's childhood was marked by early loss. In 1406, when he was just 5 years old, his father died. Later that same year, his mother gave birth to another son, Giovanni, who later became a painter himself under the nickname Lo Scheggia, meaning the splinter. In 1412, Masaccio's mother remarried. Her new husband was Tedesco di Maestro Feo, an elderly apothecary who already had several daughters. One of the daughters later married Mariotto di Cristofano, the only other documented painter to come from Castel San Giovanni. There is no surviving documentation of Masaccio's artistic education. He just had a natural talent, and he chose to pursue painting as there were several painters already in his family. Traditionally, Renaissance painters began apprenticeships around the age of 12, usually under an established master. Masaccio almost certainly would have needed to relocate to Florence to receive professional training, but there are no records indicating that he studied in a certain place or with a certain person. He was a self-taught painter, and back then, people would grow up very quickly, unlike today. This was centuries ago. The first solid evidence of his independent career appears on January 7, 1422, when Masaccio joined Arte de Medici Especiali, the Painters Guild of Florence, Italy, a famous artistic city. He registered as a fully independent master, signing his name as Massus Johannis Simonis Pictor Populi Nicolai de Florentia. By this point, Masaccio was no longer a student. He was already working as a professional painter. Masaccio's earliest attributed works include the San Giovanale triptych, dated 1422, now housed in the Masaccio Museum of Sacred Art in Cascia di Reggello, and the Virgin and Child of Saint Anne, also known as Sant'Anna Matersa, created around 1424 and currently held at Uffizi Gallery. The San Giovanale triptych was not rediscovered until 1961, when it was found in the church of San Giovanale in Cascia di Reggello. very close to Masaccio's hometown. The altarpiece depicts the Virgin and Child with angels in central panel, Saints Bartholomew and Blaise on the left, Saint Juvenal and Saint Anthony Abbot on the right. Although the painting's original frame is largely lost and its surface heavily abraded, Masaccio's artistic intentions remain unmistakable. His figures possess weight, volume, foreshortened depth, demonstrating a clear revival of Giotto's free dimensional realism, rather than following the flatter, decorative trends of his contemporaries. Masaccio was known to be a devout Catholic. He was also intensely private about his work. He refused to share the technical secrets behind his painting methods, keeping his approach to perspective, light, and form closely guarded. This silence only added to his reputation among fellow artists. In the latter half of 1428, Masaccio fell suddenly ill. This was very unexpected. He died at the age of 26, passing away in his home. Contemporary belief holds that he may have been poisoned, though no proof has ever been established. His body was temporarily stored at the Catacomb di San Callisto. No suspects were ever identified. To this day, the circumstances of his death remain cold. Some believe he was murdered by a rival painter, and Masaccio, with that big art piece he did, refused to give out any of his painting secrets. Therefore, some had anger on him and envy on him. Masaccio's funeral arrangements were handled by the Brancacci Chapel in Florence. A public viewing was held at their site, followed by a Catholic Mass at Santa Maria del Carmine, both located in Florence. He was cremated, and his ashes were stored at this church. Masaccio lived only 26 years, yet fundamentally reshaped Western painting. His death cut short a career that was already redefining art, but left behind questions that history has never answered. His legacy is clear. The circumstances of his final days are not. Thank you for listening to this episode of Strawberry Ink. Take care, stay safe, and have a good rest of your day.